I just want to talk about ethnic profiling. I want to talk about ethnic profiling because it is very, very easy to profile one ethnic group, and I think Igbo people are like the experiences of Igbo people in Nigeria is something that they should be the one to know what it feels like to be profiled ethnically and to know the consequences of ethnic profiling. But today we see that it seems like the Igbo people are the people that are profiling other ethnic group for one reason or the other, And I thought that it is important that we talk about ethnic profiling. Ethnic profiling is when you assume or assign certain characteristics, especially when it comes to criminality or crime or some kind of illegalities or some unfavorable tendencies, that you assign it to, attribute it to one ethnic group or one tribe or one country or one color, skin color, like anything that connotes negativity, and you ascribe it to a particular set of people, a group of people, a nation, a race of people with a particular skin color, people with a particular religion, religious belief. Just that is what I mean by ethnic profiling. I think it is very dangerous way to go about anything that you are doing, regardless of your aim, regardless of your goal. Everyone should know that ethnic profiling is a very sensitive issue, and ethnic profiling always leads to calamities. And today in the world politics across the globe, people don't want to respond to any case, any dialogue, any language gives the impression that it's profiling any ethnic group, profiling any group of people based on their religion, based on their gender, based on their sexual orientation, based on any basis that you may talk about. Even today you can't even say fat people or short people, or there is the push to protect ethnic minorities, to protect people who have specific ways of life, specific ways of worship, specific ways that they cannot say it was me that caused it for myself. For example, when you are black, you have this skin color, you have this hair texture, it is not your making. You were born and you find out that your skin is black, that your hair is kinky, or however. It's none of your making. And there is a push now more than ever before, because of all the stories of the past, the histories of all the inhumanities and all the the hostilities and all the evil that has gone before against people just based on this ethnic profiling. And there is a lot of push from the perspective of the international community to stop or to support people who are being ethnically profiled. Where am I going with all these things? For example, we have seen in the past week that the narrative about whether you want your own country, whether you want a better Nigeria, whatever you want politically, whatever your political aspiration is, we have seen in the last few weeks that there is a lot of narrative that tends to condemn and make everything that has to do with Fulani evil and like outrageous, condemnable. Like you just put everything Fulani in one box and you want to set it ablaze. You want to destroy it. In your eyes, you may think it's legitimate. You may think the world is seeing what they are doing. But the world is not responding to you that way. The world is looking at ethnic profiling, but you don't know. This is why I'm bringing it to the limelight here. Because whatever you are saying, you want to tell the world, look at what is going on, look at what is going on, are there herdsmen that are, going into people's farms to graze? Yes. And it is wrong, and this is a legal issue. This is something that the government should take charge of. This is something that the government should do something about. But this is not something that you want to profile everybody that belongs to the Fulani ethnic group and make them the evil, make them the devil, make them set them out for elimination and extermination. The world does not listen to this narrative. In fact, it is counterproductive, because you want to make the world see, look at them, they are this, but the world are looking at victims. And in the end, the world is going to respond accordingly. And you are going to be there, why they don't respond to? Because of the language you are using, because of how you are coming out and profiling a whole ethnic nation. It is wrong. It is wrong. And we have seen it happen to the Igbo in the past, and the whole Igbo nation was ethnically profiled, and we saw the calamity that was brought up upon Igbo people in Nigeria. And it's always the same. Like here in this country, there was a time the Jewish people was ethnically profiled, and we know what happened. Millions of them was taken out of this world, exterminated, taken to the gas chambers, done evil things. And today, for example, when you look at what is going on about extremism and about all this suicide bombing and all those things, and a large conservative group of people, for example, in a country like Germany, for example, they call them neo-Nazis or something like that, or maybe conservative, they are pushing for a ban on Islam, ban on all these people, anybody with Muslim name, anybody. But the government is going in this way and say you cannot ethnically profile every Muslim as a suicide bomber. You cannot ethnically profile every Muslim in Germany as a terrorist. You have to be mindful of ethnic profiling, because according to international rights, international community laws, every ethnic group, every religious group, they have a right to live freely and to be protected, if they are profiled and marked out for whatever reason. So my people, what I want to say, I don't know if I'm being too high up there. I hope you are following me. You cannot profile the Fulani the way you are going about it. It is very wrong. And the seed you are sowing today, it is going to bear fruit. I just want to point out to you that you cannot profile the Fulani the way you are going about it. A lot of people have said, yes, they should fish out the criminals among them. They should fish out, those people who are doing bad things among them. Of course, it is a legitimate thing to say. But, when it comes to crime knows no ethnicity. There are criminals among the Igbos, for example, There are criminals among the Yorubas. There are criminals among the Edos. There are criminals among the Efiks. And, all types of crime. And you don't say fish out the criminals among you. This is something that the police, the law enforcement should do. If somebody has committed a crime, the law enforcement should go after the criminals based on their investigation and get on with them. So what we are seeing about the Fulani herdsmen and the clashes and the killings and all the death and destruction, this is a failure in government. We must recognize it, that this is a failure in government. And if government is not taking the action that it's supposed to take, because it is wrong for people to attack villagers and take over their village and allow their cows to be occupying that place, and for the villagers to be in camps. It is very, very wrong, and this is what the government is failing to do, and this is what is giving room for people to have the opportunity, you understand, especially because the president happens to be a Fulani. So it is very, very easy to say the position and the way he's going about it, to say he is in support of this, ethnically motivated attacks against farmers in the villages and all those kind of a thing. What we should be calling for, the way I'm looking at it, we should call for example, a ban on open grazing, and the people who own these cows, because of course most of them is not their cows, maybe there should be a law, put some legality in it, let the government do their job. It is important that you take your protest to the government, you take your protest to the government house, you take your protest to the police. But it is wrong for you to ethnically profile a whole ethnic group and you want all of them exterminated. The world does not listen to that kind of language, but you can make a case for the illegality of the activities of some of the members of this group, and it is then the work of the police and the law enforcement to go after them and do the needful against the people who are taking advantage of the being in the bush and perpetrating evil against farmers or rural dwellers. So again, if you do this ethnic profiling now, tomorrow is pregnant, and Igbo people have people all across the globe, all across Nigeria, all across West Africa, and we know that there are a lot of Igbo people who are also involved in one vice or the other, and nobody goes out to single-handedly ethnically profile all Igbos because of the vices of some of the Igbos. This is how you should look at it, and tone down this hateful rhetoric, my people. Tone down this hateful rhetoric, because the hate you are pushing out, you are going to get it back. What you give, it is what is going to come back to you. If you give out all this hatred today, and everybody around you, feel that all you have for them is hatred, and they think that hatred is all what you have in your heart against every other person, you are going to get this hatred back, you see. So what I'm saying is, ethnic profiling is something that you have to be careful if you want the international community to look into the plight of whatever you are crying against. You don't use ethnic profiling, you talk about the criminality, you detail it out what is going on without ethnically condemning the whole ethnic group. You understand me? This Fulani, this herdsmen problem is happening in different localities. It's happening, wherever it's happening. Whenever something happens, you can always go to the local authority there and make your complaint known. But we know that, for example, there was a time not so long ago, there was so much kidnapping in Aba. I remember that very well, that the army had to come in to curtail it. By this time, even though the herdsmen, those people who were do the selling cow was there, it was not yet a language that was used. And for example, in my own experience, I know that from Bini from Umunede down until you leave Onitsha, that place has always been hot spot for armed robbery and all sorts of criminal activities. Back in the day, we used to take night bus. For example, we used to take night bus, and at some point it became too dangerous, because every time you are on a night bus, there is an escort with gun, and then there is always armed robbery attack. Everybody knows this, So today it looks like all the armed robberies and all the vices that normally takes place has now kind of been melted into this herdsmen problem. I'm not saying that there's no problem about herdsmen, but you cannot go about it the way you are going about it. You don't do this because you lose every sympathy, you lose every ear. Nobody will listen to you, nobody will take you serious. I'm telling you guys, nobody would listen to you, nobody will take you serious. You will just be seen as people that just kind of hangs on anything, to make your narrative. The world doesn't listen to anybody that is ethnically profiling anybody else, you see. So there is always a better way to go about these things. without this Herdsmen, this pursuit, this intense narrative. It is very, very intense. And I feel that I should just share my thoughts with you guys, that the way you people are going about this is not the right way. It's not the right way. Just like you cannot make a case and say everybody from this part is like this, everybody is like this, everybody is like this. This is exactly what you are doing. And you cannot make a case against people who practice whatever religion they are practicing, because the world is galvanizing into freedom of religion, you see. And you cannot make a case against people that live in another region, because most people today live in places other than where they were born. So I just feel that the leadership in the Southeast needs to control this narrative and stop this profiling that is going on for the long-term interest and benefit of Igbo people. This is just what I want to share with you today, my people. I just want to tell you guys that this bragandy you are doing is not bravery. It's not bravery. Bravery, you have to be sophisticated in your bravery. It's just like Chino Achebe wrote and said that you stand in the house of the coward to point at the ruins of what used to be the brave man's house. So this is what I see. I see that there is no deep thought about what of actions. It's almost like people are acting on impulse. You just act impulsively. You don't think far about what you are doing. You don't think far about the actions you are taking. Okay, for example, if you look at animal rearing is a kind of farming. So like if you have this plot of land, this area, and you are farming there, that is your farm, and somebody else will have another part of land and they are farming. This is why I'm saying that it is something that the government should do, and the case will be to prevail on the government to ban, for example, open grazing, for example, and to compel the owners of the cow to get land and graze their cow in that space and transport it with trucks. This is something that you can do without profiling the Fulanis. You can actually do this without profiling the Fulanis, so that everybody will see clearly that your concern is the damage that is being done and the ruin, not on the ethnic group per se, but the way they are going about it is as if it is the ethnic group that is the problem, and not the problem of the grazing that is destroying farmlands. And also, of course, the criminals that also attack people along the line. You see, this you should learn how to target your conversation. You don't just be blabbing Fulani. It's like the whole Fulani is your problem. So you should talk about the problem, what the problem is, and the solution that you want, and the solution that you put forth for the State House of Assembly, for the governors, you keep it there. You don't go personal. You don't go on the whole ethnic group and put all of them in a box and you want to burn all of them. It is very wrong. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. So you understand what I'm saying is keep in mind that what you need is sympathy. What you need is sympathy. You need people to see your plight. You need international community to see your plight, to see what is going on. This is what you are trying to achieve. You want the whole world to see what is going on, but you are not doing it the right way, and the world is seeing the opposite. And in fact, the world will, have the sympathy the other way around. Because why? You are profiling an ethnic group, and the profiled ethnic group is the one that is going to be protected, contrary to what you are thinking. You see? So my people, hey, some people are creating problem for a long-term generational problem for you. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a problem with people going with cows and destroying people's crops. So the question is going to asking who owns this cow, and who is making these people to be walking these thousands of kilometers with cow in this day and age. And we know that actually they have enough land in the north more than in the south, because in the south, especially in the southeast, there's not a lot of land actually that is available, large spaces of land like that. They have more spaces in the north that they can accommodate and do all this ranching without this. In German they say Herdsmen. You just kind of want to make this ethnic group, condemn them in this, haunt them with all kinds of terrible, describe them, make them a target of attack. You can make your claims about these cows and these cows and open grazing and in this 21st century, but the way you are going about it, you are going about it about the whole ethnic group, and common sense should tell you that you cannot do this and say a whole ethnic group should be condemned, a whole ethnic group is criminal, a whole ethnic group should be exterminated. Nobody uses that kind of language. Nobody listens to that kind of language. So if anybody is making you think that this is the way to talk and this is the way you can achieve something, I'm here to tell you that I'm sorry, this is not the way to go. This is not the way to go, my people. You see, you can make the case, of course, this thing is a failure in leadership. That is what we are seeing, and it is not for you to key into it and hype this profiling of this ethnic group as your main case. You should remove this language you are using and talk about the problem. The problem is open grazing. The problem is open grazing. The government should do something about open grazing. The House of Assembly, the State House of Assembly should do something about open grazing. Open grazing is leading to conflict with farmers. It's leading to loss of life and property. This is the language you should be using. You shouldn't be saying Fulani, Fulani, Fulani. No. Yeah, the people who own these cattle, they are millionaires, they are House of Assembly members, they are big people in the society. They can afford it. They should do what they need to do. The State House of Assembly, the governors, they should make laws in their state and say, we don't want open grazing. Full stop. You see, and remain on that. But you cannot be going about the whole day and shouting Fulani, 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 because tomorrow it's going to be Igbo, 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 or Yoruba. It's not good. This is not the language of the 21st century. Nobody listens to that kind of language, And what we see is what you see with these Fulani herdsmen is the same failure that we see with government people who don't do anything for their people. It's the same thing, because on a normal day, why would somebody still be saying somebody should be using car to be traveling all across Nigeria in this day and age? Normally they should have a ranch where they graze the cow and they are ready for sale, then they will transport it. And what we'll be talking about is, holding grounds in the south where they will be holding them before they are sold out and, for consumption. Not that every day people are roaming around in the bush. This is the conversation we're supposed to be having. Open grazing and the causes, the impact, how it affecting the communities, how it's destroying lives, and talking about it and finding solution to open grazing. See, there's no place for open grazing in this time and age. Yeah, even though it's a century-old way of life, you can make a case and say, for today, in today's world, there are better ways you can even do it and get better cows and make better profit. That kind of language, my people. I'm talking about government of every state. So if the government of every state will make a law and say that we don't want open grazing, and then if anybody goes against that law, then the state has the power to deal with the people who go against the law. For example, So I just want to point to you that this your brigando is going to backfire. It's going to backfire. You people should tone it down. Tone it down. Tone it down. It is called ethnic profiling. I understand where everything is coming from, but I still understand the dangers of the implication of this ethnic profiling that is going on right now. For example, what we are seeing completely is failure in leadership. I'm not saying that there's no failure in leadership, but what I'm saying is, what can we do, because at the end of the day, we are looking for a situation whereby you don't mismanage the situation and then you cause more problem for yourself long term. You see, this is what I'm trying to say, that this language we are using, this rhetoric that we are hearing today, it is not a very good one. The conversation we should be having is a different one. We should be targeting what is happening and how it is happening, and we shouldn't be targeting the whole ethnic nation of Fulani. You understand me? Because a lot of people have sentiment against every other group. For example, this is natural, everybody have their bias. But when it comes to international politics today, ethnic profiling is not acceptable. That is just what I'm saying. It looks like, in addition to all this all the headers and all the farmland and all this outcome of open grazing that we have seen, we have also seen criminalities that have escalated, and everything is pointing also to the herdsmen. But I know that there are a lot of people who are also doing these vices that are not Fulani, even though we want it to look like that. Because the issue of all this kidnapping, adoption and all this thing, it didn't start with today. It has been there for a long time. So I know that it is just not a recent thing, and everybody that has followed Nigerian politics and troubles in the last couple of years know, for example, that this is not a recent phenomenon. But the issue that open grazing is leading to people being exterminated, for example, in the Middle Belt, this is a very, very wrong thing. And I've learned that the governor have also banned open grazing. So this is the approach I would really want us to push for, and the approach that it is legitimate, actually, to say we don't want open grazing for these reasons and for these reasons. Instead of this language of the Fulani, the Fulani, the Fulani. Please, my people, this is just what I'm saying. My own is to raise your consciousness to understand how the international community looks at this, these scenarios that is going on, so that you can know what you are doing. Because sometimes, when you are there and, you think this is the only way to do about it, I'm just trying to show you that this is what it is called, ethnic profiling. It is called ethnic profiling, and anything that is called ethnic profiling is very, very wrong. The sympathy goes to the person that is ethnically profiled, and so the so-called people you think that should be punished for what they are doing are the one that will get the sympathy and the protection because you have succeeded in profiling them ethnically. But what you can do is to talk about the impact of their open grazing and the conflict and the troubles and the solution that you envisage, which is end of social open grazing, trying to stop all kind of hostilities that is coming from open grazing. This is a case you can make, and this is something that this state of House of Assembly can put forth a legislation, and it will become legal in every state, and it will not be a problem anymore. And so the people who own these cows, they should be able to secure large portions of land where they can, put the cows in a ranch, in open space where they can loiter around, where they can take them around, where they can still have water, where they can drink, or even irrigation. They can provide water where they can drink, and so they can have some area, where they can have it, and then it is out of the way of people's farmland, and stop the conflict. This is a language that is in moderation that you can use without profiling the whole ethnic nation of Fulani, because common sense should tell you that everybody that is Fulani is not a criminal. Everybody that is Fulani may not even be a header. For example, the Fulani ethnic nation is a big one, and just they are spread across West Africa. They are mainly, herders. This is their way of life. But you cannot say all of them are criminals. Common sense is supposed to tell you this. But this is the language you have employed. Tell me who is going to listen to you. Tell me. You see? So, my people, I don't want to talk too much. I just want us to understand what ethnic profiling means, and the narrative should change going forward. Please, let us talk about open grazing. Let us talk about the inhumanity that people who are millionaires, of obviously, who have a lot of resources, cannot invest in their cows, which is a source of livelihood for them. Because of course there is also the question of land grabbing in the pretense of open grazing. So these are things you can also address when you are talking about open grazing. You see, so I don't know this language or this local language that everybody wants to say Fulani, Fulani, Fulani. You lose focus, you lose the point of the grievance. It's very wrong. These are things that makes the Fulani to have sympathy. Why would somebody go and be killing baby cows, for example? It is wrong. It is wrong. So what I'm saying is, too wrong do not make it right. And for you to make your case plausible, you understand me, you don't profile the whole Fulani ethnic group. You stay on the matter. You stay on the matter, and the matter is open grazing, and the impact, the effects of this open grazing, and the problems that is coming because of open grazing. This is something you stay on and address it, and stay on it. And it is inhuman for me personally that people who own these cows, these are rich people, that they allow somebody to be working this amount of time on food. How can somebody be walking from Sokoto to Umuahia, for example? It is very inhumane. So you can make this kind of case actually and say, who owns this cow? Why can't you find large portions of land, that expanse of land across the north, and graze this cow and transport them to the south? Why do you want people's children to walk through the bush and carry cows in today's world? It is inhumane. We can make this kind of arguments, actually, without saying the Fulani. It's too much, and you don't make any point when you talk like this. For example, the people that have been selling all this cow, is not a new thing. I remember very well a few years ago in Umuahia, in Aba, kidnapping was so high. There was one guy that was the link reader from Osisioma. I think I remember Osisioma. There was mention of Osisioma in that man's name. And the military had to come in and curtail that kidnapping. And it was not Fulani people that was doing that kidnapping, because everybody was affected. At first they were going after the rich people, and then every other person, children, market people. Like, for example, yesterday there was a lady that was robbed and killed in the process. It was in the news in Umuahia, or was it in Aba? Yeah, this has happened. There is criminal. If you come to the southwest, like, for example, we see people who commit criminalities all the time. We see people who are kidnapping and killing for rituals. These things have always been there. This is not Fulani. Let's not mix these issues because we want to push this narrative. My thing is, I think that most of the problem the Igbo is having in Nigerian politics is this lack of foresight and not thinking far. This immediate bragando. This is not bravery. This is childish, So, yeah, is there a problem with Fulani herdsmen openly grazing and, altercation between the farmers and on the paths that they are taking, and are there criminalities around it sometimes? Of course. But what is the solution? The solution is not ethnic profiling. The solution is not ethnic profiling. And when you come with this talk about this, and it sounding ethnic profiling, nobody listens to you. People shut down. They don't want to hear what you have to say. Why? Because you are profiling the ethnic nation. But you can leave the talk of profiling the Fulani and talk about the problem. and stay on that problem, and talk about the solution that you want and stay on that solution that you want. Yeah, at the end of the day, whatever you think, that is going on in Nigeria, and you feel that it's not going well, and you feel that, you want the international community, to help out in the situation. You want to take your complaint beyond the shores of Nigeria, and then there is a case of ethnic profiling. Nobody is going to listen. People just shut down. You see, so yeah, I just wanted to talk about this today because it's just been heavy in my heart, and I know that a lot of people are doing criminalities, and of course today is the Fulani that is the easiest scapegoat, and we know that that is not the truth. We know that these things have been going on for a long time. This criminality of kidnapping and getting ransom, for example, it didn't start from the northerners, for example, but I'm sure they looked at it and say, oh, since we're already in the bush, we have a good place for keeping them. So why not? They can easily catch into the crime. So what is the solution? That they don't do open grazing. You see, so this is a case you can make. This is possible. This is actually very possible, because today there are people who may want to be nomads, who may want to go on the mountains with their sheep. Most of the time in Europe, the nomads are actually people who go around with sheep, not cow, like in West Africa, for example. But you can make this case about ranching, and there is enormous land space. For example, in the northeast, actually, in the northeast, they have huge squares of land that they can actually use for that purpose, and it will be beneficiary to everybody. And I think you can stay on this course and talk about this, and push for the legislation and all those things. But one thing that surprises me about our people and what they talk about is, most of the time they complain that they don't have any control about what is going on in their state, but somehow they believe they can influence what will happen in the central government. I don't understand that thinking. Every time you feel powerless about what is going on in your immediate state, you feel powerless about what is going on in your local government, you feel powerless when it comes to your government, when it comes to your House of Rep members, when it comes to your local government, you just feel powerless. But somehow you feel you can control the federal government in Abuja. Somehow you feel you have the power to change the federal government in Abuja. I don't understand that thinking, really. I would really like somebody to explain it to me, because so you cannot control your local government. You cannot influence the politics in your state, but somehow you feel that your noise that you are making will go as far as Abuja and change the narrative in a multi-ethnic, multi-religious society. I don't know. I think that is just a wrong approach. So my people, have said all that I have to say, but I just wanted to point out about this ethnic profiling, because I feel in a multi-ethnic and multi-religious society, this is a recurring issue. And for the sake of, say, Igbos in other regions, in other parts of the country, so they are always prone to this ethnic profiling, and I think they should know better when they profile other ethnic groups. So thank you so much, my people. I hope you keep safe, and yeah, I'll see you in another video. Bye.